Welcome to Manchester Airport. Your Airport Man is the name of this podcast. You can find it. And you're going to appear on this podcast as much as the people on stage if you want to. Be aware that if you are on it, it will be on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you put your hand up when it comes to question asking, that's when you'll be on the podcast. So if you get it, speak clearly, be prepared to tell us your name and whatever it is that you want to ask. But we've got an amazing panel of people for you to chat to and ask questions of, all with different jobs in aviation. And you may notice that I am the odd one out on this stage. And we've got 5 absolutely brilliant women from across aviation to talk to you. And I'm going to ask them, first of all, to introduce themselves and tell us what job they do. And maybe you're watching this just out of interest. Maybe you're just like the bum end of a Concorde, or maybe you're actually considering doing a job in aviation. Maybe some of the things they say might make you think about doing that. So you could ask questions about that or anything else to do with aviation. So first of all, let's go along the line and meet everybody. Please, could you tell us your name and what you do for a job?
Yes, so hi everyone, I'm Laura. I work opposite Virgin Atlantic and I've been at Manchester base for, it's coming up to 18 years with the company now. And yeah, so we fly from Manchester and I do long haul flights.
Magnificent. What is your favourite place that you've flown, either regularly or just ever?
I'm going to have to probably say New York. With it just being one of those destinations where not everyone gets to see. So when you do go over there, you do get that wow factor as you're coming into the city. It's one of those places that you can do anything. You can go out, you can do a lot of exploring, walking, shopping. There's so much to see and do, and it's a friendly place. It really is. And it's just one of those places that just keeps you going back. You know, I think once you've been, you do get the itch to keep going back to New York. So that's definitely one of my favorites.
When you go to New York, do you go out with the pilots, or are they a bit aloof? And should you like avoid pilots? Are they a bit weird?
Well, if it's Lauren, we'll make an exception, and we'll all
Let's meet the next person on the panel, shall we?
Hi, I'm Lauren. I'm definitely not a weird pilot. I'm a captain for Virgin Atlantic. I fly the A330, which is an Airbus aircraft. I believe we've got Airbus in the building today. I've flown with Virgin for just under 9 years. Started flying with them on the mighty 747, which I did for about 2 years as a first officer. And then I've now gained my command on the A330 aircraft. Prior to Virgin, I flew short-haul aeroplanes for around 12 years, so bringing some short-haul experience before I came onto a long haul. And before you ask me, I'm going to go with my favourite destination as being the island of Barbados, because what's better than when it's cold and wet here and you fly to Barbados, you do a nice long day in work, and you get to put some swimmer on, have a walk around the beach and feel really smug that you're in 30-degree heat.
Yeah. Do you need anyone to keep you company the next time you go there?
Yeah, I do get quite lonely down route. So what I do find is really helpful is when I take friends and family away with me, and that's
Great.
a brilliant perk of our job, that we're able to take people away with us, and they get to enjoy the perks just as much as we do.
Fantastic. And my eyes are very good despite the glasses, so I can hold the wheel, if it's called the wheel, for you. Stick.
Yes, we could call it a wheel if you want to, but yeah,
Great.
Airbus we fly with a stick, I'm afraid.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Right, that's me. I've got a job. Good luck. Your turn next. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Let's pass along. Okay. What's your name and what are you doing at the moment? This is an interesting one. Not that you weren't interested in it, I'm sorry. This is a very interesting one for you guys, I think.
I am Abby and I am currently an aircraft engineer for EasyJet. I am an apprentice. I have been working there for just under a year, coming up in April. So, yeah, I'm an aircraft engineer and apprentice.
How old are you?
I am 18 years old. I am 19 on Saturday.
19 on
Yes.
Saturday. Happy birthday on
Thank
Saturday.
you.
19 years old and an engineer. And where are you at the moment? I don't mean literally you're on a stage at the moment, but...
I am currently in Gatwick. I've recently moved there. I'm on phase 2 of my apprenticeship. yeah, not been there for long. We either go to Gatwick or Luton. I've been put in Gatwick. Yeah.
Brilliant. So we've got a long haul and a short haul here. Thank you very much. Let's meet our fourth person on the panel.
Hi, my name's Mel Lawley and I'm the Head of Airfield Operations at Manchester Airport. And unfortunately, I don't get to fly off to any exotic destinations. I'm stuck here in the rain.
Oh, that's awful for you. These two can sort you out. They've already invited me to Barbados.
I need to make friends with these two, definitely.
Yeah. Head of Operations.
Head of Airfield Operations,
Airfield
So
Operations.
anything that you see once you've left the terminal, once you've gone through security outside, where the planes park, move around and get to the runway, I'm responsible for making sure that that whole area is safe and efficient for planes so that they can all take off on time and land on time.
Wow. You're the person who would be most annoyed in an action movie when they break through the barriers and things like that.
I think the security might have more to say about that than me, but we
That's
would
true.
definitely be cleaning up the mess, yes.
That's true. Well, thank you very much, Mel. And last but not least,
Hi, I'm Kate and I'm an air traffic controller based here at Manchester. Been here since I was 19, straight from our college. And we're responsible for when you push back off stand to the runway to take off and land, and for about 40 miles surrounding Manchester.
air traffic controller. I don't know whose brain is bigger on this stage out of the pilot and the air traffic controller. But those are the two brains my whole life that I've thought mine isn't anywhere close. That's a lot of responsibility that you've got there up at that tower.
It's teamwork. Between the two of us, we get there safely.
Yeah. Does it help to know each other? If you're a pilot, does it help to be friendly with the air traffic controllers? Get you out quicker.
We do have people asking favours, but it's first come, first served.
Good. Okay. Well, that's your panel. If you've got any questions already that you're thinking about, keep them parked in your brain. We'll come back to them. We're going to play a game of truth or lie first. So I'm going to make a statement, and I want you to put your hand up if you think it's true. If you think it's a damn dirty lie, keep your hands down. Okay? Here we go. Cabin crew are mainly there to serve food and drinks. Hands up if you think it's true. Hands down if you don't. We've only got about 3 people out of maybe 150, 200. 4 people who think that's true. Well, let's go to Laura for the answer of this one.
That is definitely false. Yeah. As cabin crew, your main responsibility is safety and security of the aircraft and the passengers. So that's at the forefront of your mind. That's what we're trained to do. We do yearly training. We keep up with all the programs, the information that we need. And so that is going to be at the forefront of your mind on every duty.
So it's safety above all else. Is it?
Absolutely, yeah. Then you can have a brew, and then we can
Yeah.
have some food and drink.
Don't mess with us, and then you can have a cup of tea.
Absolutely.
Virgin's new slogan there, officials now. I've just come up with it. Second one, are you ready? Hands up if you think this statement's true. I'm going to come to Melanie for the answer to this one, by the way. Wildlife is a big issue at airports. Wildlife. Yeah? Lions, tigers, bears. Quite a lot of hands there. I'd say at least 50% of the audience with their hands up there saying that is true. Melanie, is wildlife a big issue?
Yes, well done. Wildlife is a big issue at airports. We have a team of people that work 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, making sure that we are keeping all the wildlife away from the airport, because wildlife and aircraft don't mix. And when I'm talking about wildlife, I know you joked about lions and tigers and bears, but it includes deers, dogs, cats, all that sort of thing. The main risk tends to be birds in the sky. So if you come over to the airfield ops stall later, we can show you the equipment that we use to scare birds away. We've got loud bangs, we've got weapons, we've got all sorts that can help protect the aircraft from the birds in the sky.
Wow. Also, foxes, they're very clever
Foxes are very clever. They're very good at digging underneath fences.
and very disrespectful to cabin crew. They want a drink before safety.
That's very true, yeah. We have to keep them away from the planes, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of wildlife. Airports tend to be in quite rural places, right? Or by water often.
They do, yes. They tend to be a good place to build runways. But no matter where you put an airport, anywhere in the world, it's not just in the UK, wildlife are a big risk. You really don't want wildlife coming into contact with aircraft.
Thank you very much, Manny. Actually, I was in for the podcast. You should listen to the podcast we were talking to in the cargo bit. They had a great white shark in there once, being carried to the Chester Aquarium.
Don't get many of them at Manchester.
No, I was going to say, what's the biggest animal you've had to take down, Mel, to rugby tackle?
A few years ago, there was a flamingo on the runway at Manchester that escaped from Chester Zoo.
A flamingo?
So it can be exotic stuff as well as just your normal pigeons and foxes.
This one's going to be for Lauren. All right, hands up if you think that pilots, I don't know the answer to this one. It could be really obvious or not. Pilots are allowed to listen to music when they fly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. About 11 people. Only 11 think that that's true. Lauren, do you listen to hardcore beats while you're flying to Barbados?
The answer to that is false.
Oh.
Yeah, unfortunately, our priority when we're flying the aircraft is to monitor the aircraft systems, listen out for air traffic control instructions. So what we try and do is reduce any distractions that we can do on the flight deck. Oh, that's an aeroplane going over. So if I was sort of, giving my real full Backstreet moment, Backstreet Boys, giving a little bit of a sing and a dance, I might miss Kate on the air traffic control radio. So unfortunately, we'll just keep that for when we're at home, I'm afraid.
Excellent. That is a shame, though. Do you sing while you're flying sometimes? Stay awake?
Although I appear to be quite good with this microphone, believe it or not, I can't sing.
All right, next one. Truth or lie? Hand up if you think this is true. You have to be top of your class in physics to get to be an aircraft engineer. I'll repeat that. You have to be top of your class in physics or science to be an aircraft engineer. All right, 4 or 5 people putting their hands up. I'm going to put my hand up for that as well. I think you have to be super, super smart. Abby?
Definitely a lie.
Oh, definitely a lie.
Yes. I myself was not the top of the class. I just put a lot of hard work and effort. As long as you've got that, that's all you need. If you're determined to do something, you can do it. You don't have to be the smartest. You just have to be passionate about what you want to do. Like, that's all you have to be. Put the work in and you'll get it all back to you.
What's the thing? What's the number one thing that an engineer does? This is a really stupid question, I know. But what's the thing you do more than anything else if you're an engineer? Is it literally checking that the wheels are on? Is it that kind of engineering? Is it things on plans and stuff? What is it?
It's everything really. You've got maintenance. Obviously, that's just keeping the aircraft up to what it needs to be. Like, you've got base maintenance and you've got line maintenance. Currently, right now, I'm on base maintenance. I've only just started in Gatwick, as I've said. I've not done too much. Yeah. But it's just making sure that the aircraft's up to date, everything's okay, it's able to fly.
Wow.
It's literally all about safety. Yeah, just making sure that the passengers are safe and have a good experience.
On behalf of us all, thanks. I'm glad. Air traffic controllers, here we go. Next one's for air traffic controllers, so get ready, Kate. Hands up if you think this is true. This is the last one. Air traffic controllers can talk to pilots the whole time that they're in the air. All the way to the destination, air traffic controllers can talk to them. True? Hands up. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, about 10 people saying that. This is a tricky one.
It is tricky. It is pretty much true. Depends on your route. There are sections of the airspace that is just done by time and distance, and they don't speak to anybody like over the ocean. But 90% of the world you are speaking to an air traffic controller, and they're all speaking English. So for air traffic controllers, you can use your license all over the world, and it'll be dead easy to integrate, which I'm sure Lauren's happy with.
Yeah. So the international language of air traffic control is English.
It is, and the time is all GMT. So if you're filing a flight plan in Hong Kong or Australia, it's all based on the UK GMT time, which makes it very confusing when we put our clocks forward.
Yeah, I bet it does. Wow. So where might be a bit where we can't talk to them, like the middle of the Atlantic or something?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Wow. And that's still the case. So even with satellites and Wi-Fi, again, I'm stupid.
Yeah, we have air traffic controllers in Prestwick called Oceanic who have set rules and procedures that separate aircraft, and they all fly a set speed, set levels, one way, a set speed, set levels, back, and they're all separated, and there's a segment of airspace so they can't speak to anyone.
Wow. Brilliant. Well, there's some truth or lies, but now it's over to you. Who wants to be the first person to ask a question? We are hand straight up there. So you're going to be given a microphone.
I'm going to find you guys as quick as I can. We'll start with you, my lovely. What's your
Tell
question?
us your name and what your question is.
I'm Maddie, and my question is, what's like the best job if you're starting out for?
Who wants to answer that?
I'll start that.
Go on.
I think airfield operations is a department that not a lot of people know exists at an airport. So quite a lot of people move into airfield operations by starting at a different job within the airport, and that can be within the terminal, it can be on security. There's all sorts of different ways that you can come in. I would recommend that you take any opportunity you have to come and see anybody at the airport, take any opportunity like you have today to come and talk to people at the airport, and we can tell you and give you good examples of where you started. For example, I didn't start in airfield operations. I started on security at a 3-month temporary contract and never left. And far too many years later, I'm still here today. So it's definitely an addictive career once you get in, but start anywhere you can, learn about the roles that are available, and then move on from there. That's from an airport perspective.
It's very exciting when a plane goes over, isn't it? I keep thinking someone's flushing a toilet really loudly, and then you realise it's a lot louder than that. Can you give us a whistle stop? Because you've done every job that it's possible to do at an airport.
Not quite.
How many can you list in 20 seconds? Go.
So I've done security, I've done an air traffic control assistant, I've done aircraft marshaller,
15.
I've done safety, I have done compliance, I've done terminal operations, I've done fuel farm operations. I think the only 2 departments that I haven't worked in are fire service and engineering, to be honest. Although you do have to work with them, so I've just not been employed by them.
That's amazing. What's your favourite department to have worked for?
Airfield operations,
and
without a doubt.
Airfield operations, the current one. And who's the least favourite member of staff that you've ever worked with? I'm joking. Don't answer that. Okay, next question. Who's got one?
We've got another question here.
What would happen if an unauthorized aircraft enters the base?
Unidentified. Okay, we're talking UFOs. All right. So
It depends what you mean by unidentified. So we do sometimes get infringers, which are private pilots that have maybe just got lost. So we have rules in place that means we avoid them. We basically stop departures and arrivals at Manchester until we can identify the aircraft, make two-way with it, and get it to leave the airspace. If you're talking about something that's maybe like a hijack, then we have other procedures in force where we scramble jets that will escort it in. That sometimes can just be the fact that they've lost two-way RT conversation with them, or it could be something a little bit more serious.
wow. Do you do a lot of rehearsing for things like that and in the training?
Yeah, we do annual emergency training, a bit like pilots, where we practice scenarios that we don't see, thankfully, day to day. I've not been involved in anything like that in real life, so that just shows you how rare it is.
Well, I saw this documentary called Star Wars, right? And there was this thing called the Death Star, and it was like a really big spaceship. If that came above Manchester Airport, what would you do?
Probably just stop departures and arrivals until we got rid of it. Take some photos.
Take some photos and go home. Great question.
We've
Next
got
question.
Another
What have we
question
got?
here.
Okay, then, so it's for the Virgin Airline pilot,
What's your name, by the way?
Joel.
Hiya, Joel.
So which is your favorite place have you ever been to than Barbados?
Favorite place other than Barbados? You can give us two if you want, but you've got to put them in order. So it goes Barbados in gold. What's in silver?
Okay, so another fantastic place to go to, which, funnily enough, a lot of my friends always seem to have days off and able to come away with me, is if I go to a place called Las Vegas. Anyone heard of Las Vegas? Yes, fantastic place. Not only is it a place that's got a lot of fun, it's an absolutely beautiful place to visit. You can get a helicopter, go to the Grand Canyon. I've been kayaking down the Colorado River there. I've been hiking through the Valley of Fire. It's one of those places where I'm very fortunate enough to be able to go there with work. And then once I'm there, I'm able to enjoy the experiences of places like that. I've seen lots of live bands, live musicians, DJs, and really make the most of that time. We are away from our loved ones back at home, which can be difficult at times, but the best way around it is to just make the most of being where you are and enjoy all those experiences and just make the most of life.
So when you're missing your loved ones at home and you're staying at the Tropicana that is now gone, you'd nip over the road to watch Calvin Harris at Hakkasan at the MGM.
It's a real hardship sometimes.
Yeah,
I do find that's really difficult, especially when I call my husband at home and it's he's at a child's party and it's raining, and I've just got to go right now because the sun is shining and Harry's singing.
Diplo's playing on the roof.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's just ask, because I didn't ask everyone else your favourite places you've been as well. Let's just go down the line. Abby, what's the favourite place that you've ever flown to? Gatwick.
I don't know. With EasyJet, we get obviously staff travel. So last year went to quite a few places.
Wait a minute, free travel?
No, it's like £12.
Staff travel.
Staff travel.
£12.
Yeah, it's really cheap.
That's 2 cups of tea.
So good. A few of us went to in my class went to a few places last year. Took advantage of that.
Yeah, I bet.
We went to, where did we go? We've been to Amsterdam, Monaco, France, Romania, and Mallorca last year.
Wow.
Yeah, I went to quite a few. Done a few weekends away.
Wow.
Out of all them, I think.
Fantastic.
Oh, I don't know. Where was the best? They're all good. It's nice traveling. That's what I've not been able to travel like very long distance just yet. But I'm starting off in Europe and then hopefully working my way out to further countries. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Mel, if I can call you Mel.
Yeah, please. I think I like Greece, I've got to be honest.
Yeah.
I like the sun, I like the sea, and I like the food. So that's my priorities.
A lot of places in Greece.
There is.
What's your favourite?
So I went to Santorini last year.
Lovely.
That's nice, very picturesque. And I'm off to Crete this year, so I'm looking forward to that.
Good cheese and olives there as well.
Baked with honey, fantastic.
Big wasps though. Look out.
Yeah.
Kate.
Well, I've got a 7-year-old daughter who's Disney mad, so Orlando is up on our list. We've been there quite a few times in the last few years. Unfortunately, I don't get staff perks, so I have to pay full price for Virgin.
What? It's not
Although,
fair.
no, I've made a couple of friends.
Yeah. Okay, let's have another one. Who's got a question?
Got a question here. What's your name?
We got. What's your name and?
Hi, my name is Tanya.
Hi, Tanya.
So I've got a question for both the captain and the cabin crew. What is the most difficult decision you had to make mid-flight or midway?
What a great question.
Fantastic question.
Everyone's questions have been really good, but that is a great question. What's the most difficult decision you've had to make mid-flight?
Trying to think.
I think the first thing to point out with anything pretty much to do with aviation, but especially obviously in our job roles, is that we do an awful lot of training, as Kate alluded to, in air traffic control. And so we have a lot of training in a simulator, which is a couple of those around, and we practice a lot of emergency scenarios so that if anything should happen on a flight, we have experience in that and we keep cool, calm and collected. And one of the most important things as well is that when something does occur on an aeroplane, and it could be a minor technical fault through to a passenger being poorly, is that we work together as a team. So even though I'm the captain of the aircraft and I do have legal responsibility and authority to make a decision, I make that decision based on all of the help that I can get around me. So that might be talking to air traffic control, it might be liaising with the engineers on the ground and speaking to my eyes and ears in the cabin, which is the crew. So the most likely thing that we would probably have, especially doing long haul, would be a passenger that's unfortunately fallen unwell. And we have plenty of medical care on board. The cabin crew are trained, which I'm sure you'll come on to shortly. And we have actually got a lot of equipment on board the aeroplane as well. We then use our satellite phones that we have on board to speak to doctors who can give us advice on how to treat the patient. And then the biggest decision then for us would be whether we're actually then going to divert the aeroplane. Now, us doing long haul is very different to flying over Europe because there's not a lot of airfields potentially on part of the routes that we're flying. Flying across the Atlantic down to my favorite island of Barbados, for example, we can be up to 3 hours away from an airfield that's suitable for us to land to. So one of the jobs that I would also be doing during the flight would be checking those airfields as we go along before anything has happened, just so that I know in the back of my mind where I'm going to go to, where the weather is good and where is suitable for the aeroplane as well. So it would probably be a passenger that's unwell, because obviously we're all human beings and that's the last thing we want to have on board the aeroplane.
That is a good one, actually, Lauren, because I think I'd agree with you there. When it comes to a medical on board, they have the difficult decision to make at the end of the day. So it is down to us as a team to work together and to look after the passenger. Lauren has mentioned we do have a lot of equipment on board, which we get trained on, we have some fantastic tools. So if any medical should arise, we've always got backup. We've always got a doctor on the ground that we can speak to. So that is probably one of the difficult decisions to make, is down to the flight crew. And for cabin crew, it's managing the services. So if somebody's poorly, it's how we then manage the rest of the cabin. Do we carry on with services? Is it severe enough that we have to suspend those cabin services just while we're looking after a passenger? So there's quite a few difficult decisions to make. But as a team, you tend not to make a decision on your own. We are all working together and never feel like you're on your own. That's a big thing as well. So yeah, it's probably one of the difficult decisions to make, is if a medical comes on board, but we are trained to prepare and deal with that.
Just to go back to what you were saying about if you're the pilot, you're in charge, right? And at sea, there's you're in international waters. Is it the same in the air? So technically, if we're on that plane above the Atlantic, you're sort of our prime minister at that point, aren't you?
I think that's a really worrying statement to make. I mean, certainly on board the aeroplane, I have legal authority over
everything.
Yeah. Well, the aeroplane and everybody that's on it. But when it comes to talking about international waters, coming back to airspace, the airspace is divided up and run by different parts of the country. So up until about halfway through the Atlantic Ocean, it's run by a place called Shamwick, which we spoke to. So we're talking to the UK Air Traffic Control Centre, if you like. And then about halfway through, we then start talking to the Canadians and then down through America. So we're always in contact with a part of the world, even though we might not necessarily actually be flying over that piece of land or be that close to it, in fact.
Okay, another question. Who's got one?
My name is Vedika, and my question is, who or what inspired you to get into aviation field?
Okay, who or what inspired you to get into aviation? Has anybody got a... Go on, Abby, what have you got?
I've just lived by an airport all my life. I've lived near Liverpool Airport, and I just thought it was really interesting how some big metal bird can just fly in the sky. And I even think, like, now, even though I've done all the physics and the aerodynamics behind it, I still think it's still crazy to me how it actually works. It's like insane. Like, I don't know. And I think it's always inspired me. And I think that's what led me down the engineering path, because I never knew what I actually wanted to go into necessarily. I just knew like aviation was quite like amusing to me. I knew it wanted to be something like that. When I was younger, it was more of a pilot. I didn't know about the engineering side, and it is quite male dominated. I've never really thought. And then as I got older, I was like, well, I don't really care what people have to say, to be honest. I'll do what I want. And I just found it very intriguing.
I was going to ask that question later because, like I said, International Women's Day is the 8th of March. And I'm just wondering, I'll ask it now to all of you, how rare it is for a woman to do your job. I don't know whether it is or not, but can you tell me and what any instances where people have assumed something about you because of your gender in these jobs?
Well, you don't see too many girls, but you can definitely see there is more coming into the industry, which is very like nice to see. It shouldn't be one gender. It should be a bit of a mix of everybody, because I could do is just as a good job as some like of a man. Like I doesn't mean I'm any less than him. I do have people saying like, oh, like what made you like get into this and stuff like that. I'm not necessarily judged for it at all, really. Everybody's so lovely about it. I don't get treated any differently, really. I think more the fact that me personally, I've got a bit of a bubbly personality, and I will talk to like anyone. I think that's more what people assume me on. They think, oh, she must be a bit like thick because she doesn't,
Because she talks a lot.
Because I talk a lot, and
I get that.
People just think I'm a bit dumber than what I am, and they expect less of me, and that's not the case at all. If I want to learn about something, I will do that. It's not just because I'm a bubbly person and I've got a bubbly personality, it doesn't mean I'm any less than somebody else.
And I like that you got into it. But I'm the same in terms of the wonder of it. I wonder if anyone else has the same thing of where you started and went, how on earth does that get in the sky? It shouldn't be in there, should it? And but when I was a kid, I was scared of flying, and then suddenly it clicked that I just went, this is absolutely amazing. Like I should stop trying to control it. I was worried that it couldn't take off, and now it's just like, this is unbelievable, and it's kind of magic, right?
It's not just that. There's so many there's backups to everything. It's not, if something was to fail, passengers wouldn't even know because there's always a backup. So that if you are scared of flying, don't be. And you've got amazing captains, you've got amazing people on board if anything was to go wrong, but you have got backup options. It's not the end of the world if something does go wrong, because there's probably been stuff that's gone wrong on your flights and you haven't even known about it. So
you don't say that. No, it's good. Mel, what got you into it, and is it rare? How many of the 700 jobs that you've done at the airport have you been the minority in terms of gender?
Well, I'll let you into a little secret. I didn't know I wanted to work in aviation. It was never crossed my mind to even work at an airport.
Wow.
I just
You really went hard for it after that.
And that's it. I think once you start, that's it. You're hooked. Yeah. To follow on from Abby, I've worked in aviation for forever, and this is the first female aircraft engineer that I've met. Hey. So I would say that is
round
a
of
pretty
applause
rare
for
job.
Abby, I think. Come on.
Sure, there's more, but she's the first one that I've met. In airfield operations, it's
and Mel's met everybody.
And to be fair, there are women in most aspects of an airport. Airfield operations does tend to be very male-dominated, and I have been and still can be the only female in a room at times, which can be quite intimidating. But I wouldn't let anybody put anybody off, because no one's looking at me and going, oh, she's a woman. It's just I'm there with the knowledge, and if you've got the knowledge and the skills and the experience to be able to contribute to the discussions that are going on or the events that are happening, that is the most important thing, not what you look like.
Yeah. Kate, are there a lot of women at the top of the tower there?
Surprisingly, no, not as many as male. Although I'll let you into a secret. I think we're better at it because we can multitask. We can do two things at once, and we can remember what we'd done 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
When I started, we probably doubled the amount of females that are in the building now. Nats, who I work for, are really pushing diversity. We do a lot of careers events at all female schools. I think the trick with air traffic control is that not many people know what it is. not many people know what we do. When you go on a flight on holiday, it's not something that you see. You see everything through the airport. You see your captain and your cabin crew. You see the check-in staff, but you don't see us. We are like the hidden part of the team. So that's what we need to do as a company, is to broadcast what we do, and that's, you know, changing the perception now for children.
Yeah. I can sort of guess which way these answers are going to go in terms of gender divide, but you tell me. So in terms of gender divide, gender split in your job, and why on earth did you get into it? Were you like Abby? Did you look at a plane and go, "That's not right"?
Very similar. From a young child of going on holidays, just got. Luckily for me, I'm that old that you used to be able to go and visit the flight deck when you travelled abroad on holiday. And I just got very inspired and just thought, do you know what, that's something that I want to do. So from the age of 4 years old, I said I want to be a pilot. Not quite totally sure people believed me. But I think the most surprising thing is, I think if you said airline captain or long-haul airline captain, you're probably not visualizing me. You're probably visualizing a 50-year-old guy, possibly with a grey beard, maybe still wearing glasses. So I think I definitely do surprise people. But when I say that I've been flying for 20 years, I've flown 6 different aeroplane types, I have the experience, I have the knowledge, and the proof is in your job. And I think one of the reasons that it's very important for me to be here today, with the same as all of these other women, is you can't be what you can't see. And today I hope that we're proving to you guys that you can be what you want to be. You can be engineering, you can be air traffic control, pilots, airfield ops. It's nothing to do with a gender. It's to do with how good you are at a job role. And let's face it, women, we kick ass.
Yeah. I think you've flown me a couple of times, you know, to Vegas, honestly. Yeah, and I don't know if you've been on a plane when a female pilot's voice come out, but everybody still goes, "Oh, it's a female pilot."
Yeah, and I think I was having a look at some of the statistics. It's still worldwide around 5% of female pilots, and for airline captains, it's anywhere around 2% mark. Right. So it's unfortunately still a very minority of a job, but it's such a great career. I'm a mum, I have a 5-year-old, so it's a job that you can still do and have a family life. It's not a choice between the two, and you can have a mix of both. So I think that's a really important message to bring across.
Yeah, yeah. I've got another question about pilots, which I need to come back to. It's about the voice, but carry on.
Yeah, as cabin crew, I think there was a common misconception. Now it is all female-led. Many years ago, perhaps, I think that's what it was. But as the years have progressed and we've all developed, and, you know, it's definitely a role now where we have a lot of male cabin crew as well. It's very mixed. I can't really think that it's leaning towards one than the other. When I fly, it's a real good mix of male and female, maybe a slight little bit more female, and I say that as a very small percentage. You know, we do have a mixed group.
It's
yeah,
definitely changed.
It has changed over the years, definitely. Yeah, and I think it's, you know, like I say, when it started out, perhaps it was more females, you know, but as the time's gone on, definitely changed. Yeah.
And why did you get into it? What was your start?
The same as the rest of them, you know, I just love to travel. So when I was a little kid, I just knew that I didn't want to be stationary. I just wanted to be out and about, definitely see the world. And the fact that, yeah, the planes are flying over your head all the time. Again, like Lauren, I grew up at a time where you could go to visit the flight deck when we were younger. And, you know, that you get to travel, you see all the cabin crew work. And I just thought, yeah, that's definitely at the back of my mind. I wanted to do it. Yeah.
All right. Any more questions?
Have you got any more questions at all?
What's the most beautiful runway to get into in the world? What in any destination that you have been?
Well, I think there's a lot of pressure for me to say Manchester Airport, which is a beautiful
Apart from
runway
Manchester.
in a way, because it means that I am actually coming home. However, unfortunately, it doesn't quite have the same appeal as perhaps flying around the Caribbean islands. One of the things that we do in Virgin is we do what we call a shuttle. So we'll do a short flight between some of the Caribbean islands. So we go from Barbados to Grenada or Barbados to St. Vincent at quite a lower level than we're normally flying around. So just island hopping between the two over the Caribbean Blue Sea is absolutely stunning. Conversely, in short haul, I've done a lot of ski flights where we're flying in the mountains. The beautiful scenery around you is just absolutely stunning, and it's definitely one of those pinch me moments. I'm actually flying this aeroplane through this valley and landing on this runway in front of me.
Wow. Can the plane land itself? Autopilot.
What do you think, guys? Do you think a plane can land itself?
Hands up if you think it can.
Hands up if you think it can land itself.
I do. I think it can. I think you're having a nap.
You would be
and
absolutely correct. So on a day-to-day basis, it's the pilots that are landing the aeroplane. And what I tell people is I can land an aeroplane right up until the time I can't see out the window. So when it's foggy conditions, the airport puts in extra protection around the landing system, which is what the aircraft couples to land. So Kate will keep all of airfield operations vehicles away from me, keep aeroplane spacing much larger. And when I can't physically see out the window to land, the aeroplane can land itself. And it's absolutely amazing to watch. It's incredible, I have to say. We practice it in this simulator in various different conditions so that when we do them for real, we have some experience in it. But Manchester, there's quite a wet area around it, so it does tend to be quite foggy here a lot. So this is probably the airport I've done the most automated landings at in 20 years, 100%.
And do you just push your button? Why do you need to do it in a simulator? Surely you just press land and then go, ooh.
You've just undone years of training that I have been through. I mean, there's an amount of button pushing, and then my job then is to monitor the aircraft to make sure that it is performing the landing correctly. And again, at any time, if I'm not happy with what the aeroplane is doing, I'll either take the automation out and do what we call a go around, discontinue the approach, or I'll get the aeroplane to automatically discontinue the approach.
My palms are sweating just thinking about it.
Can I ask a quick question just off the back of that, just very quickly? When you've just touched down and the speed you start to brake really hard when it's not in your control, at what point do you take control back?
So we have an automatic braking system on board the aeroplane, which will brake the aeroplane far more efficiently than I can, and it'll be a much more a nicer experience. If you've ever been on an aeroplane where it's slightly been erratically braking, I will promise you now that was the pilot trying to do it. It's actually a very difficult thing to do. So we have an automatic system that does it for us, decelerates the rate of the aeroplane. You might see some big panels pop up on the wing when you're landing. They're called the spoilers, and that is basically dumping as much lift off that wing as possible. And then we put the engines in what's called a reverse thrust, which is why they become really noisy, and you can see the panels moving on the engine. And then when the aeroplane is at a slow enough speed, we'll normally disconnect them as smoothly as possible, and we'll vacate away from the runway, and then that's all done by the pilot. We have a little steering wheel on the side, just like a little tiller that we move side to side like that, and then we'll be steering the aeroplane off the runway, and then using that little steering wheel to taxi the aeroplane on towards stand.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Okay, we've only got a few minutes left, so any burning questions?
Let's come to this young lad very quickly. What's your question, buddy? What's your name first?
Subhan. If you can land automatically, why do you not do it every time?
If you can do it automatically, why are you bothering?
Why bother having my job,
manually?
right? So,
Yeah,
okay,
good
so there's several parts of that. A lot of airports you can't automatically land at. When aeroplanes need to land automatically, the aeroplanes need to be spaced huge, great distance apart. In fact, in somewhere like London Heathrow, where it's very busy, they would end up having to cancel some flights. Slows the whole airport operation right down as well. Also, there's some restrictions with aeroplanes landing automatically. When it's extremely windy, for example, the aeroplane can't do it, so I need to do it. So the reason that the pilot will always be landing the aeroplane is because when it is windy, you want that pilot to have landed that aeroplane many, many times over. You don't want it to be landing automatically, and then on this one day where it's windy, yeah, I get to land it, and I may have not landed the aeroplane for a while. So it's not quite as straightforward as that. But yeah, most flights you will be going on, the pilots will be landing the aeroplane themselves.
Because you need the practice.
We need the practice.
Yeah, yeah. What do you do when it's foggy? What are the extra things that you put out there when it's foggy? I just remembered we were going to ask you that in the middle of another answer. Go on, Mel.
So as Lauren said, We have to increase the spacing so that they can use their auto land and make sure that that is safe. So what we'll do is, normally on an airfield, you'll have quite a number of vehicles are out on the airfield. We'll have grass cut in, we'll have all sorts of things going on the airfield. When we've got low visibility, which can be poor visibility distance-wise, or even just the cloud ceiling, the height of the cloud above, we'll withdraw everything away from the airfield, and we'll only have really essential operations vehicles out there. And that minimises the chance of any of the vehicles, any people out on the airfield getting near the aerials that send the signals to the pilots to land.
Yeah.
So it's making sure that we've got all that out there. We've got additional airfield lighting that guides the pilots on the ground as well. So we've got selectable routes that they can follow so they can see the lights right in front of them. So it's not just about when they're landing, it's about how they get from the runway to their parking place, what we call the stand. And occasionally as well, we will have a vehicle in front of that aircraft providing what we call a follow me service. So it's a vehicle that just guides the aircraft and the pilot can follow that aircraft to the appropriate place on stand. If we slow everything down, it takes more time for people to, for pilots to taxi from the runway to the stand. So we will have less movements, less departures and less arrivals within that period as well.
Wow, again, so many things. Do you know how many people, somebody give me a guess, how many people do you think will go through Manchester Airport in the next year, roughly? So somebody shout a number at me. 1 million. Higher or lower than 1 million? Higher or lower than 5 million? Higher? 6 million? 20 million? Lower? It could be up to 30 million people next year going through the airport. 30 million. It's impossible to even think of. And all of these decisions are being made by all of these people on every plane and every move to keep it all together. I think that's amazing. Who would like to be part of that at some point in the future, having heard these people speak? Yeah, I would as well. Yeah. Yeah, all done. Right. Well, listen, I think we're pretty much out of time. So unless anyone has any burning... Oh, yeah, I have my question. At pilot school, do they teach you to do this? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be flying over...
I do have a PA voice, definitely.
Do it. Tell us where we're going. Go on.
Go on. Okay.
Shut your eyes, everyone. Shut your eyes. You're on the plane, right?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Lauren Wigglesworth, and it's my pleasure to be your captain aboard this Airbus A330 flight from Manchester to Barbados. With me on the flight deck today is Senior First Officer Hywel Davies, and in the cabin is Laura and her team. All of you are on board now. We're just completing the final few pieces of paperwork up here on the flight deck, and then we'll be getting on your way. It's my pleasure to be flying the aircraft to Barbados today. The flight time will be 9 hours and 30 minutes. Expecting nice, smooth flight conditions today. However, turbulence can happen at any time, so please keep your seatbelts loosely fastened. I'll leave you in the care of Laura and her team now, who will be shortly showing you a safety demonstration. Please keep your eye on this at all times. Thank you.
Magnificent. Round of applause. Listen, search your podcasts for Manchester Airport Podcast or Your Airport Man. Look for that on Spotify or whatever you listen to stuff on, and you might hear yourself or your mates on it. So thank you very much, and thank you very much to the panel. And feel free to grab them afterwards and have a chat if you didn't get to answer questions.
Round of applause, please, for the guys.
Thank you very much, everyone.